Murdoch?
He's here. Rambo, this is Murdoch. We're glad you're alive. Where are you? Give us your position and we'll come to pick you up.
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
You're the best around.
Best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
I need the best.
I had the best words.
Well, I'm the best there is.
The best. We the best.
Have a chance to be the best of the best.
You are now listening to Best of the Best, presented by Radar Studios. Starring two guys who use their middle initial to sound cool. Here are your hosts, Neal E. Fischer and Mark P. Smith.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I thought that the Carl Weathers arm that gets blown off in Predator, I thought it actually rolled down the hill and is squeezing off rounds.
It was squeezing off rounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were saying it rolled down the hill. Then someone else at the lunch table today said it was spinning in midair in slow motion.
In my mind, I thought it tumbled. Like it just kept rolling, one after another or whatever, over and over.
Well, his arm gave its best tumble after getting blown off by a laser. It just couldn't do enough to survive, though. So why are we here today, Mark?
Today's show is Best of the Best Razzie Award, either nominees or winners. And we're going to debate Neal and I's top Razzie Award. Like I said, nominees or winners. Because if we pick the winners, it'd be definitely hard to find like good movies to put in that list, and we'd be kind of screwed. But we figured we'd throw nominees in the list. Right. There's a lot of good stuff in there that Neal and I have a fondness for. So.
And you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with the Razzie Awards. If you're not, it's sort of the anti-Oscars, if you will. It's awards given to movies that are critically panned or commercially panned, and they give awards to people for movies that they think stink. Most notably, Halle Berry actually accepted her Razzie Award for Catwoman, and that was kind of a famous instance there.
Yes, and I was doing a little research on the Razzie Awards, and most people don't collect their Razzie Awards. They don't think of it as a notable honor. But some exceptions included Tom Green for Worst Actor / Worst Director for Freddy Got Fingered, Halle Berry for Catwoman.
And she had her Oscar in her hand when she accepted that for Catwoman for Monsters Ball.
Okay.
Yep.
Sandra Bullock, a little fun fact, was nominated for a Razzie, or won a Razzie and won an Oscar in the same year, won an Oscar for Blindside, and won a Razzie Award for All About Steve. And also a couple other guys, Michael Ferris and J.D. Shapiro, also accepted in person their Worst Screenplay Awards. And Paul Verhoeven, Worst Director for Showgirls. He actually accepted his award in person too, which is great for me because I'm a big Paul Verhoeven fan. So I'm glad that he had a sense of humor about that.
Yeah, no, I think you have to have a sense of humor about it. I mean, you spent 2 years working on a movie. And I know, obviously, it's probably not the best feeling to get a Razzie Award nomination or to win one, but you got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, more people are going to check out your movie now, whether they're going to like it or not, but it's kind of fun. I think it's all in fun.
To give you a little history, a little bit of history for the Razzie Awards, they're actually titled the Golden Raspberry Awards. That's the actual full title. Most people know them as the Razzie Awards. It was co-founded by two UCLA film graduates and film industry veterans, according to Wikipedia, John J.B. Wilson and Mo Murphy. And it was founded in 1981. And like Neal said, it basically is an anti-Oscar ceremony. And the first ever Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Picture was given to Can't Stop the Music in 1981. In fact, it was held on March 31st, 1981, 9 days before I was born. So there you go.
Really? Is it possible that the Raspberry Awards helped push along your birth? Somehow. Maybe your mom saw it and said,
I don't know if they televised it at all.
I don't think they did, but maybe your mom.
It was in the living room, I think. So-
Your mom knew that her favorite movie, Can't Stop the Music, had won Worst Picture,
Right.
and she went, "Oh, I'm so angry!" And then Mark popped out.
Well, that's probably historically accurate.
We'll have to ask your mom that pretty soon. Wasn't Can't Stop the Music on an episode of How Did This Get Made, the Village People film? I think that's what it is, the Village People
yes,
movie.
I believe that is the movie.
That was a fun
Wait,
episode.
is that the name of the movie? Can't Stop the Music?
Yeah, Can't Stop the Music. Yeah, with
With the roller skating?
yeah, Village People.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow, that looks terrible.
Yeah, and it says Can't Stop the Music is notorious for being the first winner of the Worst Picture Golden Raspberry Award, for it was a double feature of this and Xanadu that inspired John J.B. Wilson to start the Razzies. So he was really affected by Xanadu. He must not like roller skates.
Here's another fun fact for you. I got a couple of fun facts. I told you about the contradicting awards, the Razzies and Oscars. The only film that's won both an Oscar and a Razzie is Wall Street in 1987. Michael Douglas won the Academy Award for Best Actor. However, Daryl Hannah's performance was not as well received and earned her a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actress.
Greed is good.
I forgot about Daryl Hannah in the movie.
Shout out to my friend Ryan, who's obsessed with Michael Douglas. Started wearing suspenders after seeing him in Wall Street.
What about The Game? That's a movie.
The Game is an awesome movie.
Yeah.
David Fincher, Sean Penn. Great film. I guess...
We digress.
Yeah, digress. So, getting into this now, we wanted to originally just do Razzie Worst Picture winners, which would have been from 1980 to 2016. The unfortunate thing about that was it wasn't a long enough list for what we thought would be entertaining, and the list is just really bad.
Yeah.
And when we looked and we said, hey, let's just see what was nominated, we looked, and there's actually some really good movies that were nominated for Razzies that we disagree with. So a lot of those, I think, are going to make the list. So feel free to, if you're at home and you're not driving, feel free to go to the Wikipedia page.
Or if you're driving, pull over.
Pull over under an underpass.
Yeah.
Get a cigarette, a coffee, whatever, and then pull up the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Picture.
Maybe get a beef jerky.
Possibly a beef jerky.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Some Bugles.
Bugles, Hot Pockets. But go to Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Picture on Wikipedia, and you can follow along with our list here. So let's start with Mark here, since this was his idea, his inception.
What Neal is trying to say is thinly veiled that he hates this episode.
No, actually, I was surprised at how much I'm going to like this episode with the movies that I'm going to choose.
J.K.
Simmons.
Just kidding. Simmons. All right, so we're going to start it off. We're going to throw some movies in the discussion. I got quite a list here, and I don't know. Neal and I might overlap, so we're gonna navigate that a little bit. So I'm going to start off. At the beginning.
Okay.
1981. Actually, I'm going to start off in 1985, Rocky IV.
Ooh, interesting.
The fact that this movie was even nominated for it didn't win, it was just a nominee in 1985 for Worst Picture, is amazing to me, because this is such a great film. It's like, well, one, such a huge part of my childhood. Two, in the Rocky franchise, Rocky IV, to me, is number 2. Like, it's Rocky 1, then Rocky 4, then, 2, 3, and then on.
Well, I will say Rocky Balboa and Creed are very well done.
Yeah.
Better than I would think 5 and 3.
With Tommy Gunn. Street fight. But Rocky IV, I mean, it is like the antithesis of 1980s Russian USA complex, relations. Like
it's like the culmination of the Cold War and all that.
And so many training montages. I mean, it just destroyed every training movie or every sports movie after that, as far as montages go. And the whole idea of Rocky training in the woods, basically in a cabin with all these archaic farm equipment, and then Dolph Lundgren, aka Ivan Drago, is
it should have been called Rocky IV Back to Basics, because he just used the elements while being chased by KGB spies.
Right. And all these movies are the same. Rocky. All the Rocky movies are the same over and over again. Outside of Rocky 1, where he loses in the end, which is I think still the most compelling one.
Wait a minute, he loses?
Yeah. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But it's the emergence of Dolph Lundgren, who we've notated on this podcast before. Is going to show up in a lot of movies. I'm sure we'll talk about.
He was an absolute beast in this movie.
But beast of a guy. Who knew he was so brilliant too? MIT graduate, and this really started his career, and I think he plays that perfectly in that movie. Like he's just like the Russian monster. I mean, you never even know. Like he's not famous at all, and you see that movie, you're like, I hate that guy immediately. I mean, obviously because he, spoiler alert, kills Carl Weathers, aka
Apollo Creed?
Apollo Creed, thank you. I was like right into my tongue.
You were looking like blank, and I was like, I guess I could give it to him. I thought maybe we were going to get there.
Hang in there with me, guys. Neal is always my my walking internet. So, yeah, it definitely goes in. I would dare say that it's going to be in a top five best of the best nominee for sure.
No, it definitely is a nominee. It's a great
soundtrack's insane.
The soundtrack is so good in that movie. The featured song is "Hearts on Fire,"
Yeah.
which I work out to still to this day. The hearts on fire. Don't know the lyrics. The best part of the song is when it goes boom boom boom.
You work out to it. I do dishes to it. So
you do dishes to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's to each his own. No, it's a great movie.
By doing dishes, I mean I play it near the dishwasher as it's cleaning everything.
Well, what I love about it is Dolph Lundgren, like you said, is kind of an unknown. He's pretty intense in that movie with all the training montages. So
like when he pounds his fists, and you're like, oh my god!
Right, he pounds his fists. He's like using all those machines and robotics, and all the Russians are like watching him just destroy things and like punching at thousands pounds per
steroids.
Pressure. There's that great story where Stallone was talking about how because he was the director of the movie, which I don't know if a lot of people know, but he did direct most of the later Rockies after one. So anyway, he was directing during the fight scene, and he told Dolph Lundgren like, "Hey, really try to knock me out." And he punched him super hard, and he put him in the hospital.
Yeah, 3 days or something.
Which is insane. Like, first of all, Stallone is very tiny compared to Dolph Lundgren. Yeah. And to have Dolph Lundgren at that time and that size and the young virile man that he was, PhD in whatever he has his PhD in, he's smart. I don't want to say rocket science. I was going to say rocket science. But anyway, having him punch you though, that sounds pretty terrible.
And Apollo Creed, what I love about that beginning is he comes out with all the braggadocio or whatever,
James Brown.
The total like America, like swagger, and he's just like, he's just like Rocky's like, man, I don't know about this, He's like, man, don't worry, I got it, man. He's like totally overconfident, and something bad's gonna happen. And then he pounds, they glove up right before they fight, and he pounds Ivan Drago's hands, and they don't move. They're just, you can, like in the movie, like as a kid, I was like, oh man, his hands must be made of straight up concrete. And then they look in Apollo's eyes, like, all right, like he was kind of like second guessing.
That was probably the first time you saw Apollo Creed look worried.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, he's the epitome of Muhammad Ali. He's just like so full of himself, but he backs it up.
Yeah.
And then to see Drago just completely punch him to death like it was nothing.
Right, literally to death.
Literally to death. And then Rocky, felt bad about not throwing in the towel.
Right.
Soon enough. But it's a great catalyst though for the whole movie. Rocky, Mick was dead, and he was sad about that. That was sort of like his inspiration for the other movie,
Rocky 3.
Rocky 3. But then this one, his first competitor, then friend, then trainer and confidant gets murdered in front of him. And Rocky is half the size of Apollo Creed, and he's like, I'm going to train in Russia to kick this guy's ass. But I will say, the final scene when he beats Drago and he gives like that huge speech to like the Russian congregation.
To end the Cold War,
To end the Cold War.
Yeah.
I don't think that would have happened.
You don't think that would have been effective?
A bloodied boxer who can barely talk as it is.
Yeah, I can't imagine the Russians would go, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, American.
They'd be like, the
war is over.
War is over.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I heard too that whatever he said was translated differently to the crowd there, so they would cheer because they wouldn't have if it was whatever he said.
That's funny.
At least I heard that. So no, great pick. Definitely should be in the mix. If you haven't checked out the soundtrack or listened to Hearts on Fire, please listen to it. It's badass. And if you like getting sweaty in barns and lifting farm equipment, this is
You're
your
gonna
movie.
love it. Yep.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go few years before Rocky IV because we're in the 80s now. We're gonna stay in the 80s, according to me. And I'm gonna go with a movie that I'm very surprised actually is on this list. It's a movie that is a favorite of mine, of my brother, and was introduced to me by my mom. It is Friday the 13th.
Oh, nice.
The original.
The original, where Jason's mom is the killer.
Right, and that's one of my big reasons of putting it on here. I get maybe it was like, it was one of the earlier slasher films, and they felt the need to put it on there because it wasn't an artsy film or whatever. But, made by Paramount, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, Friday the 13th,
He directed a lot of them, though, right?
He produced all of them. But just like you just said, the reason I want to put it on there is the fact that the mom was the killer the whole time, because I think people forget that the first one, it was the mom avenging her son. Yeah. And it was she
gets it wrong in Scream, remember that?
She does, right. That's the opening.
Halle Berry, Drew Barrymore.
That's one of your favorite references. I feel like you've said that before, right?
Scream?
About the opening, about like getting
that's
that
like one of the best openings ever. But it's got a lot of great references to horror movies in general, but that one's great. When I was a kid, he was like, who's the killer? And Friday the 13th.
She goes,
like,
Jason.
I was like, no, wrong.
It was his mother.
And your boyfriend got gutted because of it.
Yep. But so Betsy Palmer.
So know your history, guys.
Yeah, know your history because
know your movies.
Someone could be calling you.
Yeah, sorry.
But Betsy Palmer, amazing performance as Jason's mother. And you got a young Kevin Bacon in there with a great death scene.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
He's in everything.
Great special effects by Tom Savini, I believe.
Right.
And this movie is great because, it's just unexpected. I mean, I know
her head gets chopped off.
Her head gets chopped off.
Yeah, sorry.
See, this is a great.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you keep interrupting me. That's fine. We'll deal with it later. No, this is a great point, though, because we started the conversation today, our episode about Predator, and if Carl Weathers' hand spun in slow motion,
right,
her head spins in slow motion when it gets cut off. So maybe that's what you're thinking of in preparation for this episode. But yeah, anyway, Friday the 13th, it kickstarts one of the best horror franchises of all time. Sean S. Cunningham kind of made a name for himself with this film. I know a lot of people might not think it's the best of the series of Friday the 13th movies. I mean, no, Jason's head does not... Jason does not punch a boxer's head off like in Jason Takes Manhattan. But it's a more stripped-down horror film, and it always has a soft spot for me because Betsy Palmer had short blonde hair, and my mom has always had short blonde hair, and she loves the movie too. And so I don't remember if she ever dressed up as this character, but I always used to kind of think that the mom was cool, killing all those sex-crazed teens, because it kind of reminded me of my mom, but not the crazy part.
Okay.
But yeah.
I was going to say, I want to clarify that.
Yeah, no, she's not crazy. But it is pretty cool, though, that it was made on a budget of like $550,000, which seems... I mean, it's still kind of,
It's kind of a lot now.
Yeah. But back then, I mean,
it's probably a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, they did a nice job, though. So
yeah,
definitely should be put into the
And if you
mix.
have a lake and it was called Crystal Lake, there's no way you didn't change that after that movie came out.
Well, yeah. And I would think you want your counselors to save kids that go in the water for fear that they might turn into Jason.
Instead of finger blasting on the docks.
Smoking pot, having
That's another
sex.
lesson. Another lesson. Don't be finger banging on the docks, because then a kid could drown and come back and kill you.
Was it a finger banging scene?
Over and over and over. I don't remember. I'm just...
Oh. I was like trying to vividly remember the scene, and I'm like, I don't remember finger banging on the docks. But maybe it is. I don't know. Write to us and let me know.
Yeah.
I'll have to rewatch it. I can't remember.
Hashtag finger bang or no finger bang.
Yeah. Hashtag
BOTB.
Well, Kevin Bacon died in the bed, though. He had the arrow go through the middle of his neck, which was a great effect.
And Johnny Depp died in the bed, too.
He did die in a bed.
In a much more theatrical way.
So how many... So I think we may have caught on to something here. How many famous actors who are our favorite actors now died in a bed in a horror movie? That's the question.
Yeah.
Something else for you guys to figure out. Hashtag died in a bed.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon, though, he's great. I feel like he's going to be on our episode of favorite best everyman actors.
Right.
Along with like Kurt Russell, Dennis Quaid, and Kevin Costner.
Or along with our episode of best movies that take place in a small town where people aren't allowed to dance.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a short episode. It might be a mini-sode, but we'll include it. All right, so yeah, what do you got? So those are our first two we put in the mix.
Okay. good verse too there. I think that's a solid entries there. Man, I'm looking at this list. I realize I have a lot of Stallone on here.
There actually is a lot of Stallone on this list.
I'm gonna go 1 year later than Rocky IV, which is 1985, and I'm going to add Howard the Duck.
Oh,
1986.
How dare you?
Directed by George Lucas.
No,
Am I correct?
He produced it.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So way to get your facts straight.
I know. But he no, he didn't create this because it's a comic book.
No, yeah, it was based on a comic book. It was directed by Willard Huck.
But made by Lucasfilm, right? Or Lucas.
Hoik.
Yeah.
Willard Hoik. It was made by Lucasfilm. You're correct. So it was based on Howard the Duck by Steve Gerber and
is Howard
Val
the
Merrick.
Duck coming into Guardians of the Galaxy?
Well, he was in a teaser scene, an after credit scene. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. James Gunn is a big fan of Howard the Duck. The one thing I do disagree with him on is he hates the movie. Yeah. Which I think is blasphemy. But he's
a big fan of the comic.
He's the big fan of the comic book. Gotcha. So yeah, they're going to do the comic book for that.
I think the movie is great. Getting back to it, I'm putting it in this list because it's another childhood favorite of mine. My brother and I watched this movie over and over again. Ed Rooney, or the principal from Ferris Bueller, is so creepy in that movie when he. You're
talking about Jeffrey Jones, right?
Yeah, and I think he's the model for Vince in Men in Black, the guy that plays.
Oh, D'Onofrio?
More
sugar.
Yeah. I think he's like
more sugar.
He's almost like doing a ripoff of
a little bit. I mean, Jeffrey Jones's voice is a little higher because he goes,
"I'm the dark overlord of the universe."
Yeah,
it's such a weird movie. I mean, there's duck boobs.
Right. I mean, right away he's looking at Play Duck.
Yeah,
and then you have the duck boobs in the bathtub.
Yep.
Classic duck boob, probably the best duck boobs ever in film. I would say.
Good early role of Tim Robbins. Definitely matches his current career trajectory in terms of making weird movies.
Do you think he talks about this movie ever? Because if I ever met Tim Robbins, there's two. I would say Shawshank Redemption,
Howard the Duck,
and that's all I would say.
Hudsucker Proxy.
And he would go, "I'm sorry, I don't talk about Howard the Duck." I don't even know if that's not a good impression. I don't know if that's a good impression. I feel like we've made it a thing now, so I got to try.
And Leah Thompson, who was a total '80s babe.
Oh, she was a really big babe.
She's really, really hot in this movie.
And it was in Cleveland, right? I mean, they were in Cleveland, which I was a big fan of.
Cleveland rocks, they say.
They do. Remember when they kind of allude to the fact that her and Howard had sex?
I know, that was so weird.
It was really weird because I didn't realize that when I was younger.
Yeah.
But then when you get older, you're like,
you don't think of sex like specifically, but then when you get older and you've done it, you're like, oh, you had sex with a duck.
How about Holly Robinson Pete is Leah Thompson's friend? Remember her? Or Holly Robinson at the time, before she became Pete.
Oh,
remember?
Okay.
That was probably a good get at the time. I don't know if that would have been Hill Street Blues. I'm sorry, 21 Jump Street.
And who's the voice of Howard the Duck?
So that's one I never forget or never remember, but it's
Chip.
Sorry, because that's like one of the trivia things I always try to make stick in my brain.
Chip Zien, huh?
Chip Zien.
Chip Zien.
Oh, he's from Milwaukee. Should tell Grant.
Oh wow.
So it says that he was best known for playing the lead role of the baker in the original Broadway production of Into the Woods by Stephen Sondheim.
Oh yeah, who doesn't forget that?
I mean, most notably now, James Corden did it in the film Into the Woods. That's a good role, the baker. So yeah, Howard the Duck. I'll let you talk a little bit more about it. I was going to put this on my list next, actually.
And that's all I really have for it. I have an affinity for it mostly because I think if I watched it now, maybe I wouldn't have gravitated towards it as much. But when I was a kid, it was so irreverent in terms of like, because you think of it, you almost look at the trailer and go, oh, this is like kind of like a kid's movie. But then you watch it and you realize how dark it is. Because Howard the Duck is not really, he's kind of a scoundrel. He's not really like he's still a good person or a good whatever being. But he has like a very slick like used car salesman way about him. And he's trying to like, all he wants to do is bang old girl. And you know what I mean? Like it's probably not as hardcore for a guy like James Gunn because I'm assuming the comic book is much more so. But for me, again, it's just all about my childhood, and this one is a big. I know why it's on this list. I can understand why adults would put this on their list.
Right.
But I think it's a really good addition to the mix.
No, it definitely is. I said on previous podcasts, I think on our first one, Howard the Duck was maybe the top played movie out of all the crazy ones that I used to watch as a kid. I would watch it every day. My mom said like you with Masters of the Universe, I broke the VHS. We played it so many times. And I would watch it every day. I loved it. I probably didn't get a lot of the jokes. And I don't even know. I probably have seen this movie like 100 times. And I still need to see it more because I kind of forget a lot of different things. But favorite things for me, the duck animatronics and performance I thought were really cool.
Yeah.
The music at the end is awesome. Howard the Duck. So we only know the lyrics for the first part of a verse. It took place in Cleveland, which I've always been a big Cleveland fan ever since I went there with my family. I love Major League, love Cleveland. And it's just, I think I love it because it has a charm about it, because it was one of the most commercial failures of all time, especially for George Lucas, who had gotten so popular with Star Wars, and he had this colossal failure. But, you got to give him credit. I mean, I know he produced Willow, which we just talked about the other day, which we were...
It's funny, outside of Star Wars, when you think about it, he hasn't really had a huge success.
No, not really. I mean, American Graffiti is sort of an indie at its heart.
And that's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
But it's a starting film, and THX 1138, same way. But after that, like, Tucker wasn't well received.
Well, that Tucker
Howard the Duck isn't well received.
Tucker was Coppola, man.
Yeah, but it was still a Lucas project,
But I actually really like Tucker, though, with Jeff Bridges.
I'm not saying I like the movie too. I'm just saying there wasn't a lot of post.
Right. Yeah.
When you think of like something like Ridley Scott, where he's had like some stinkers in between, but he's had like some really good moments.
What's interesting about Lucas, though, is he might not have had anything super successful other than Star Wars that he directed.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Indiana Jones, but other than Star Wars, though, someone who probably shouldn't have been in the limelight, but he's a billionaire from the toys and all the marketing things that he set up.
I always say this because people always get on his case about Star Wars and how he like supposedly ruined them and stuff, and I'm not going to totally disagree with that as far as the prequels go, but I will say what the guy contributed to filmmaking in general is immeasurable. So,
well, no, I mean his contributions to
offline editing,
special effects,
ILM,
Beards,
computer animation. I mean, Pixar was all created from the basement of ILM, essentially. So,
well, I am going to give a shout out to
right.
the Facebook group that is flannel, white jeans, sneakers, and beard. So he definitely changed the landscape of that. Speaking of George Lucas, episode 1's actually on this list as a winner, I believe, of Best Picture. We'll get there later, but
so Phantom Menace.
Yeah, the Phantom Menace, which I don't think is that terrible of a movie. I mean, the first 3 are kind of like kids' movies if you look at them that way, even though the original trilogy are kids' movies as well.
If anything, the first one is the best one out of those first 3.
Yeah,
so.
I'd agree. Okay, so I was going to say Howard the Duck, and you stepped on it.
All right, great.
So I don't know if I want to add this one in right away because you know which one I am going to add. I'm just going to give.
Just say it. People know.
I'm going to give a few honorable mentions though to tease it. Okay. These aren't necessarily going to be.
I like being teased.
You do like being teased. I'm not going to put a lot of these in the mix. These are basically just honorable mentions. One for my mom. I used to watch this with her all the time. Mommy Dearest.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
That's on my list.
Is it?
Yep.
All right, well, I'll let you talk about it. One movie where I listened to the soundtrack until the CD stopped spinning, or the cassette tape. I forget what time it was. Probably cassette tape. Cool as Ice. Don't Be a Zero. Get with the Hero. Vanilla Ice.
Yep. Who's the DP of that?
Yep.
Janusz Kaminski.
Janusz Kaminski. That's right. Spielberg's DP.
Yep.
That's great. I want to talk to him about that. Nothing But Trouble. Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, Demi Moore.
Wait, that's in this list?
Yeah.
I missed it.
All right.
That's a great movie.
You might have to go back to it.
With Tupac and the Digital Underground.
Digital Underground.
Making a cameo. That's a great movie. Very bizarre. Demi Moore is super hot in it, too.
Well, she had the white dress, the really short black hair.
Yeah, yeah.
And like her hair was like
she had
always...
like shorts on. She had like white shorts with...
Well, her hair was like wet the whole movie, if I remember.
Hair, yeah.
And then Dan Aykroyd...
Those weird babies.
That's the creepiest thing.
They're all oily and
I showed my friends this trailer for Nothing But Trouble, and the only one who had seen it before was my brother, and they're watching and they're like, what the hell are these babies? And why does Dan Aykroyd's nose look like a penis?
If you have not seen Nothing But Trouble, highly recommend it.
So yeah, Nothing But Trouble. You know, you have a few great Seagal movies on here. You got On Deadly Ground and
Are they great though?
Fire Down Below. No, I mean for him they're great. For him they're great. It's kind of like a backhanded compliment.
We're, just so you know, we're definitely going to do a Seagal episode, so we're not going to tread too heavy on that.
Do you remember Sliver? I remember I rented that movie, right? And it had Sharon Stone and Stephen Baldwin.
Okay.
Wait, did I say Stephen? I meant Billy Baldwin. I'm sorry.
Was it like an erotic thriller kind of thing?
Yeah, like they watched each other on camera. There's like a lot of sex in it.
Trying to be
it's like
Basic Instinct.
Yeah, it was definitely a cash grab for Basic Instinct. But
Is this your entry?
No, it's not. I just remember people renting it from Blockbuster all the time, and it was always like young kids that were probably using it as like porn.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few other honorable mentions, but I'm not going to go there right now. So my next... Wait, no, it's you, right? Or is it my turn to enter one into the mix?
No, you're going to... Yeah, you got to... I just did Howard the Duck.
Oh, right. I said I was going to tease one, right?
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to enter a movie that I don't think should ever have been nominated for a Razzie. Should be accepted.
This might possibly be your favorite movie of all time.
I don't know if it's my favorite movie of all time, but I have a...
Top 5?
Well, it depends. I have lists that are what I think are my favorite top 5 movies, like based on quality and merit and performance. Then I have like my top 5 movies that I love just watching.
They say there's no guilty pleasure though, so
no, that's true.
I'm just saying.
If I had a top 5 of movies that I just love watching, this would be in it for sure. So this movie should probably be accepted into the Smithsonian or the National Film Registry.
Okay. I disagree, but go ahead.
It is the Patrick Swayze classic Roadhouse, which was nominated, I would think, in probably 1990, since the movie came out in 1989, and my notes are all over the place. But yeah, so
yeah, probably 1990.
Yeah, so a lot of people who know me know that I love Roadhouse. I think it's a really fun movie. It's got some of the best fight sequences, stunt work, great soundtrack. You know, it's got by the Jeff Healey Band. I should mention them. Jeff Healey rocks. He's a great blues musician. You got Patrick Swayze. You got Sam Elliott, and you know, I want to do a whole podcast on Roadhouse, so I'm not gonna spill too many things here right now. I will just say, if you haven't seen Roadhouse,
we should do a Swayze one.
We should definitely do a Swayze one. I wouldn't even mind just doing an episode on Roadhouse, like we watch it and talk about it. So Patrick Swayze plays a cooler named Dalton. Little trivia here: they never say his name's James, but his name's James. It's in his medical file. If you ever need that for trivia. And he's a cooler who is the best, bouncer basically in all of the United States, other than Wade Garrett. And I have to do this now because my friends are not.
How do they quantify that though?
Well, so Dalton,
like every place he works is pretty calm. No one gets
right. No, so every place he works, he turns it around. He turns it into the most money making. He's
safest. Like Gordon Ramsay of.
Correct. He's the Gordon Ramsay of bouncing.
Yeah.
And he's working at a club in New York, which is the hot spot in New York. You have a guy comes over there, right? And he goes, look, I'm looking for Dalton. And he goes, well, you got him. And Dalton's like, stitching up a cut that's on his arm. And
he's a badass.
He's a badass, obviously. And he's stitching himself. And it's Kevin T. He's playing Frank Tillman. He goes, I got a bar called the Double Deuce, and I need the best. And he goes, Wade Garrett's the best. Wade Garrett's getting old, but he's still the best. And Wade Garrett is Sam Elliott. So Dalton basically gets money. He goes to Jasper, Missouri, where he goes to this Double Deuce place, which is like a shithole, and he turns the place around. He fires anyone who's having sex on the job with minors, taking money from the till, selling drugs, and he basically creates a team that just turns this place into the hottest club in town. However, there's a guy called Brad Wesley, who's played by the famous Ben Gazzara, who's sort of like a mob boss, and he runs the town. He takes percentages from all the businesses, and he just basically like throws his dick on the table in the town and says, "This is my town.
This is my dick.
But but if there's one person that is not going to take a dick that you give him, it's Patrick Swayze.
Right.
So Patrick Swayze basically saves the town. So the reason I want to put this in here, people are going to make fun of it. Obviously, it's very homoerotic. There's a shirtless Patrick Swayze. You see his ass,
which is pretty normal in that time.
No, I think it's very normal in the 1980s.
Yeah.
You can't fault it for that.
Yeah, greasy dudes, cut off jean shorts, not weird.
Not weird at all. There's monster trucks. There's nudity. There's the fighting. There's blood, throat rips, alcohol, punching.
The most famous throat rip, to be honest with you.
Well, I would think it'd be it is the most famous. Yeah. And the reason he rips Marshall Teague, who played Jimmy's throat out, is Jimmy. So here's a little backstory. I could go on a tangent all day about this. But anyway, he's at a early morning breakfast with Sam Elliott, and Sam Elliott is with Kelly Lynch as well, who is the love interest of Patrick Swayze, and I have a side note on that as well. So they're having breakfast. Kelly Lynch is off in the bathroom or whatever, and Sam Elliott goes, "You can't keep being upset about what happened." And what happened was Dalton was in another town. Dude pulled a gun on him, rips the dude's throat out, as you would.
Right.
You would do that, right, Mark?
I would.
Okay. So Sam Elliott goes, "You can't be upset about that. If a guy pulls a gun on you, you have two choices. You die or you kill the motherfucker."
Yeah.
And so you think about that. Chekhov's gun ringing in your ear.
Right.
Chekhov's gun. Then, end of the movie, he's fighting Jimmy, the henchman for Brad Wesley. I'm getting fired up. I can talk about this all day. He's fighting Jimmy, right? And they're fighting or whatever. Dalton's losing. But then Jimmy puts rape on the table. He goes, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison." Then Dalton just goes insane.
Yeah.
Starts kicking the shit out of him. What does Jimmy do?
Isn't the lake on fire too at this point?
A little
Or
bit on fire.
something.
Yeah.
Something's on fire.
What does Jimmy do, though? Pulls a gun on Dalton.
Gun.
Dalton has to rip his throat out.
Yeah.
Has to rip his throat out.
You have no choice.
You have no choice. So he rips his throat out. I'm not even going to go in more detail. Seriously, I could talk about this all day. I will say, though, fun fact about this movie before I let you talk about it. Kelly Lynch, her husband, is like best friends with Bill Murray. Anytime Roadhouse is on TV, Bill Murray, when he sees the sex scene between Swayze and Kelly Lynch, he calls Kelly Lynch's husband and says, "Patrick Swayze's having sex with your wife right now." Great tidbit. So I'll let you talk about it. I'm going to do a whole episode on this.
I don't know much about Roadhouse, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, and I will say for anyone who
I've
wants
seen the movie, I just not as qualified to talk about it as.
Well, if anyone wants to disagree with the movie, just look at it as a 1980s adaptation of a Western. It's basically a Western. It's like Shane or any of those movies. He's the cowboy who comes into the town, saves the town, and then rides off into the sunset. So
modern day Western.
Contemporary
folks. Western.
And Dean Cundy, DP.
Nice.
All right, Sam, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Just so you know, Neal's a little bit sweaty right now. He's gonna.
Seriously, I'm not even joking.
Fanning himself.
I think I might have to do an entire retrospective on this film. And if you're in it, that's great. If not, I'll just sit here alone in the dark and do it.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll talk about Magnolia for a whole.
That's fine. Episode. I can do that.
I like how I equated Magnolia to that's your Roadhouse.
Well, that means deep down in your subconscious, you know that they're the same movie. They're just as good as each other. Hey, what if PT directed a Roadhouse remake?
God, that would be great.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh man,
Daniel Day-Lewis as
with
Dalton.
throat rib still. John C. Reilly in there.
No, yeah, John C. Reilly would be. He wouldn't be the
Amy
villain.
Mann doing the soundtrack.
No. John C. Reilly would be Red Webster, who's the owner of the shop and the uncle to Kelly Lynch's character, Doc. Mm-hmm. And John C. Reilly would be like, that Brad Wesley, he's taking 15%. Yeah, come on, guys. But
I didn't know John C. Reilly was mentally challenged.
Well, he has a little bit like, hey guys, hey.
No, that's true. I got it. I like it.
A little bit different though than Ray Romano, which is hey. But I will say Daniel Day-Lewis would be Wade Garrett, Sam Elliott's character, and he would have one of his like quintessential American accent. He'd be like, "You have two choices."
Oh yeah, he'd be perfect. He wears his stash well too.
Yeah, he would do his Daniel Plainview accent, and he'd be like. Now, Dalton, you have two choices. One, you die. Two, you
rip
kill
his
the man.
throat out.
You slit that man's throat in his sleep. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Wow, we digressed there.
I am sweaty.
Sorry.
I am sweaty.
All right. The next one I'm going to add to the mix. I'm going to jump around here because I do have some stuff on here, a list. Man, I don't want to do another Stallone one, but I got a bunch.
There's some Schwarzenegger in there, don't forget.
It's true. All right, here's what I'm going to do.
Forget it.
My next entry into the discussion is Armageddon. Directed by Michael Bay. We've talked about Michael Bay on this podcast before.
The more I hear you talk about Michael Bay, the more I think you have a hard-on for him, and you just don't admit it.
I told you Bad Boys 1 and 2 are some of the best movies ever made, so...
Well, The Rock is probably his...
The Rock is great.
Probably his best. I'm trying to think.
The Rock is way up there.
The Rock is, yeah, you're right.
And to me, Armageddon is right after the. I mean, it actually comes out right after The Rock. But to me, on that list, if I'm doing a Michael Bay list, it's right after that because Armageddon, yes, it's silly, like sending oil drillers up to land on a rock to like drill it in half so it splits and misses the earth. It's ridiculous. It's a really weird scenario. I'll give you that. But it's so fun and so entertaining and visually stunning, I think. I mean, still to this day, I still think it looks like a great film. It's funny. The characters are great, like the combination of people from Bruce Willis to Ben Affleck to Liv Tyler and Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace.
Yeah, he's really good in it.
And you know who's also really good in this movie? Who, you know, he's not a huge part in the movie. He's not like one of the main people, but Billy, what's his name? Billy Bob Thornton. I was like, it's not Billy. Yeah, no. Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton he's really good in this movie. Like, I don't know. He's so believable as that guy. Like when he tells a story about how he wanted to be an astronaut, but he couldn't because he had a bum leg and blah, blah, blah. I think it's a great movie. I think it's one of Bruce Willis's best films. I love the dynamic between him and Ben Affleck and you know, I don't know what else to say about it. I think it's very entertaining. It sucks that's on this list. It's not. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think
No, I agree with you. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think anytime Michael Bay does a movie, it's going to be put into that category anyway, just because it's full of explosions and whatnot.
And I think this movie, as far as females go, like he does exploit females in a lot of movies. There's like models and stuff. There is that one scene where they go, they party right before they go up to space, and that's kind of
that's like vintage Michael Bay.
Yeah. But other than that, like Liv Tyler's a strong female character in this movie. I feel like there's like, I don't know. I think it's good.
He did handle
that scene. Still to this day, that scene when the older guy, Bruce Willis' right hand man, he like goes to visit his son, and you can tell like there's obviously like an estranged kind of situation going on there where
right
he's not with the wife and his mother, maybe his son's mother anymore, and he's like she's all like I told you not to come around here, and then he's like, I got to do something, and you're gonna you'll know what it is or whatever, and then at the end he's like he gets off the plane or whatever, gets off the thing, and his son's like. He's like, who's that? And it's like, oh, that's your dad or whatever. And she's like all proud of him finally. And I don't know. I just think it's, and then the Michael Clark Duncan, man, when Bruce Willis, spoiler alert, decides to take the, the old ride down the, you know what I mean? He decides to stay on the ship.
Well, I want to hear you.
That destroys the asteroid,
Where does he take a ride?
Destroys the meteor. And then, because he switches places with Ben Affleck, he won't let Ben Affleck take one for the team because he wants someone to take care of his daughter. You know what I mean?
Right. He took one for the team with Daredevil.
And then Michael Clark Duncan goes, "You the man, Harry." And it's hard not to cry every time.
No. He put together a great cast.
Owen Wilson is his second movie. He's hilarious in this movie.
Wow. You have Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, Ben Affleck, Liv Tyler, Will Patton, who's always fun, Steve Buscemi, William Fichtner, great character actor.
Owen Wilson was cast in this movie because of Bottle Rocket too. Did you know that?
I could see that. Michael Clark Duncan, Peter Stormare, who's a great Michael Bay alum, and then Keith David, Jason Isaacs, and then guess who plays Colonel Davis? The man whose throat was ripped out in Roadhouse, Marshall Teague.
Wow.
So that's a good reference there.
Full circle.
No. I mean, the effects are great. I think the best moment of this whole movie is probably when Liv Tyler gets that final transmission with her dad.
Yeah.
And she has to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Good work by Willis there before he started phoning it in. And then Liv Tyler was great. And of course, we can't forget Aerosmith and Don't Want to Miss a Thing, the song that kind of doesn't leave your head once you hear it.
It's true. Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's definitely what summer blockbusters are all about. And if it comes on TV to this day, I'll still watch it. I think it's great. It's not Apollo 13 in terms of like, sort of space movies that are
right
a little more grounded in reality. This is definitely a fantastic story, but I think it's so entertaining, and I think I would dare say anyone. I mean, we can all disagree on whatever, but I think I don't think you can watch this movie and not be entertained. I just don't agree with that.
Right, because then you would need Maximus Aurelius to come out and say, "Are you not entertained?" After it was
and
done.
you'd have a black heart.
You have a black heart. The thing about Armageddon, though, that I do like too, that I didn't realize until now, actually, is J.J. Abrams and Tony Gilroy both had a writing credit on that movie.
Sweet.
And they're two of the best in Hollywood as far as scripting is concerned. So
one of my favorite scenes too, I'm thinking about it, is in the movie. There's the guy explaining to the crew what it's going to be like to be up there on the rock, and he goes, he basically says like it'll be like 130 in the shade. It'll be or it'll be like 130 and not in the shade, and negative 100 degrees in the shade. Razor-like canyons, explosions, like, and then Owen Wilson stops him and goes, "So worst environment imaginable." That's all I had to say. That's my favorite. Such a good line, because he goes through this whole diatribe of like what the actual environment's going to be like, and it sounds terrible. It sounds like a really bad situation. So
there are a lot of misdirects in that movie where they have like all this machismo about like, we're going to do this. This is how astronauts train. But he's like, we're not astronauts. We're oil drillers or whatever they are.
And it's kind of funny they had all the equipment ready to go too.
See that? Yeah, the fact that they could get ready that fast, is a little is kind of a cause for concern. But
anyway, it's a great movie. It's entertaining. I'm officially putting it in the mix, in the list. I'm not officially putting it on the list. I think it deserves to be on the list. I'll say that.
And I believe the quote you're looking for is, "Miss Stamper, Colonel Willie Sharp, United States Air Force, ma'am, requesting permission to shake the hand of the daughter of the bravest man I ever met."
Yeah.
And then Mark's weeping right now.
Yeah, that doesn't make you cry. Nothing will.
Exactly. And you just got to see it because you don't want to miss the thing.
That and when Macaulay Culkin dies in My Girl.
My Girl, was that from Bee Stings?
Yeah.
He's allergic to bees?
Bee sting.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
There's a lot of spoilers in this movie. Spoilerific. All right, so my next honorable mention is not in there. Actually, this isn't an honorable mention, but it's from the same year that Armageddon was nominated. Spice World. Remember that one? Mm-hmm. Everyone loves the Spice Girls.
Spice up your life.
2 things I will say about Spice World, okay? Or 3 things about Spice Girls in general. So number 1, I'm not sure anyone has sounded quite as happy as the man who played harmonica in Say You'll Be There. He seemed super pumped to be in that room with the Spice Girls. Just listen to it again. Think of him being in the room. Spice Girls are there all dressed up, and he really put that into his harmonica solo. I don't know why I always think that, but I do. Number 2, I used to like the Spice Girls a lot. My cousin Stephanie was a big fan of it. We used to watch this movie all the time. You have Meatloaf as the bus driver, classic. And number 3, a little side tangent into the psyche of Neal Fischer. One of the only dreams that I can ever consistently recall, because I forget them almost immediately unless I write them down, was I was in high school and I had a dream where I was in the jungle and I was joined by Posh Spice, Victoria Beckham, and we were by a waterfall. And Victoria Beckham said, the only way we're going to survive this waterfall is if we grasp forearms together and straddle this large piece of wood that we have to fall over the waterfall with. And so we did it. We spun and spun and spun. We landed in the water. We were both soaking wet, and we got out and we survived. I don't know what that means psychologically, but that's one of the only dreams I ever remember. And she was angry that her hair was wet. I will say that. I don't know if there's any truth to that in the real world. And then another honorable mention, Blair Witch Project, one of the precursors for the found footage.
I had that on my list.
All right, well, we'll let you put that in there then.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to go that far with it. If you're just gonna throw it away like that, then
no, I like it. I wasn't sure if you're going to put it on there.
Fine.
One more. Surviving Christmas. My brother makes our family watch that movie every year.
Is that what Ben Affleck and
with
Tony Soprano?
Yeah, and James Gandolfini.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad, but the more you watch it, the better it actually gets, which is funny.
Catherine O'Hara too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So my next that I'm going to put in
Chicago movie.
No,
Jersey or something, right?
No, actually, I think you might be right. So you talked about Stallone being, all over this list or whatever, which he is, but I'm actually going to submit an Arnold Schwarzenegger film directed by the great John McTiernan, who we talked about at lunch today. I'm gonna put in
stealing my movie.
Last Action Hero. Well, you stole Howard the Duck from me.
Last Action Hero.
Is that one of the lyrics?
Yeah, that's an AC/DC song. They made a song for that movie.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good.
I think.
I didn't know that. Well, no, Last Action Hero. John McTiernan sort of making fun of
this movie.
It's so good. Sort of making
Sweet
fun
Brother
of...
Noomsy.
Sweet Brother Noomsy is in it. You're correct. From Game of Thrones, Charles Dance. Tom Noonan is the villain. You have Anthony Quinn, Zorba the Greek in there. Nice cameo. Arnold is great. And then you have Solieri, F. Murray Abraham in there as well. So John McTiernan obviously is satirizing his role in action films with Die Hard and Predator and things like that. And then Shane Black, who we had called on our third episode that came out.
Buddy Cops?
I'm sorry, fourth or fifth episode. I don't even remember now. The Easy E of Buddy Cop movies. But he wrote this movie also with McTiernan, satirizing the genre. The basic premise, is, if you haven't seen it, is there's a kid who loves movies like all of us. So it's basically me and Mark as a kid. And he gets a magic ticket that when it
Specifically this series of movies, too.
Yes.
This, what do they call it? Jack Slater movies.
Jack Slater.
Yeah.
We had that conversation, too, the other day about how no matter what movie Arnold Schwarzenegger is in, or the fact that his accent is so thick, his name is always super American. Jack Slater.
Right.
This little kid gets a ticket that is ripped, and he is
magic ticket.
Magically transported into a Jack Slater film, which is like, I think I would love...
Because a grenade gets thrown to the screen.
Yes.
Or dynamite.
Dynamite, right.
Right.
And then, Charles Dance has the glass eye that keeps changing. He's got like the one with the bullseye on it.
Smiley face.
There's that one scene where like the dude's farting a lot at the funeral. And he's got dynamite in him, I think, right? And he blows up. Remember? They're at the mobster's funeral.
I believe you, yeah.
And then they have the whole sequence with the tar pits.
Yep.
It's so good. It makes fun of action movies,
but
it
animated characters in there.
Yeah, it's when his lieutenant, Schwarzenegger's lieutenant, has steam coming out of his ears, which is a great scene. And let's talk about
the bad guy is really gruesome in the movie too.
Tom Noonan. Yeah, Tom Noonan's great. He's got the raincoat and the axe, and it's just so well done. I got to rewatch this movie again because we both love action movies, you and me. And this one is not only a great action movie, it makes fun of action movies, but you get all the references because it's the movies that you love anyway.
Right.
So it's so good. And let's just talk about my last point on it. Brigitte Wilson as Arnold's daughter. The badass daughter of Arnold in this movie.
Very attractive.
I was actually just talking about her great performance, but whatever. That's fine. No, I used to have a crush on her when I watched this movie. She was great. Also great in Mortal Kombat as Sonya Blade. But
yeah. I was trying to think of the other movie. So I will add a production nerd comment to this.
Okay.
McTiernan is very famous. If you're a DP or whatever, and you like his movies, you know that he uses anamorphic lenses. Which, if you watch an action movie, if you're watching a McTiernan movie, you'll notice this because a lot of the lens flares, like he shoots up in the lights a lot. And the lens flares create a blue streak across the middle of the frame, and that's like an anamorphic lens that does that. And they do that a lot in Last Action Hero. They basically, his style is like all over the place in that movie on display, and that's one of my favorite things. Just as a stupid like production nerd comment, that's one of my favorite things about McTiernan movies.
No, I think that's great.
The style,
No, he's got a very distinct style, and I'm glad that he hopefully will be back to making movies now after his
stint in jail.
Yeah. One more thing, it's kind of funny. So the original screenplay, according to Wikipedia, was by Zach Penn and Adam Leff. Zach Penn still writing screenplays now and some pretty big movies, but they wrote it to parody action films of writers like Shane Black, and then it was funny that Shane Black was the one who actually rewrote the script and gave it its Shane Blackness voice, I suppose. Yeah, and Zach Penn.
I can't add anything more to that. I think it's a great movie. I love the...
No, we really got to watch that one again.
Yeah.
And Anthony Quinn, if a lot of people don't know him, they probably know him as an older actor in this movie specifically, but if you have a chance, go back and watch Zorba the Greek. It's a great performance by Anthony Quinn, classic actor.
You notice that stylistically in the movie, what's interesting is the kid lives in like what is New York City, and he lives like in a...
He's like in Hell's Kitchen or something.
Yeah, lives in a one-bedroom apartment. His mom, he's a latchkey kid.
What does that mean, a latchkey kid? I don't know personally.
Essentially means like when your parents are working a bunch of jobs and you're a kid that's basically on your own a lot. Like you go home and there's no parent. You know what I mean? Like you have a...
Oh, I see.
Yeah. You have a key to your place
Oh, so he's basically an independent adult, pretty much.
Yeah, and he spends his time at the movie theater, the old theater, watching these movies. And the interesting thing about this film, and I think that's why you and I gravitate towards it so much, because I understand that kid is. I wasn't a latchkey kid, but I understand the idea of like films, like being so into them, being so into movies and stuff that like it would like kind of shape your perspective on the world, Yeah. And that's what this kid is. I mean, not to get too deep about Last Action Hero, but that's what sort of the story. And what I like about the movie is it's such a great fantasy escape, which movies are, where he leaves this very cold and kind of crummy, grimy New York City world, and all of a sudden he gets thrust into this like very much like action-packed.
Right, he's in Hollywood. There's like pretty girls
like,
everywhere.
Yeah, like everything is like produced. Like it's just an interesting.
You know what we forgot to talk about is the fact that like all of Schwarzenegger's movies are like played by Van Damme and Stallone.
Oh, right.
Where like Stallone was the Terminator.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. I'm like pulling this out of my ass. But doesn't he say something like he mentions the Terminator and goes, "You're in that movie," and he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
And then he says something like Stallone is small, or he like calls his muscles small, maybe. Or am I thinking of that? Am I wrong?
I don't remember that specifically, but I don't remember that not happening either. So
okay, because they were in Blockbuster.
Yeah, right. I do remember that.
And I forgot the ticket was one stone by Harry Houdini, because the old man's like,
Right.
it was owned by Harry Houdini.
Right.
And a little fun fact, if you guys need Harry Houdini's real name, do you know it, Mark? Eric Weiss.
Not Harrison Houdini.
Not like Eric Miami Vice,
but Weiss.
Yeah, but like Rachel Weiss.
Right.
It's a good trivia question, because one of my favorite, I know it's a side tangent, but one of my favorite things about Houdini was his penchant for debunking, phony psychics or whatever. And a lot of people knew that the seances weren't real because his mom had passed away, and they said that she wrote a letter from the grave, and it said, "Dear Harry," and that's not his name. I mean, she called him Eric. That was his real name.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would say that for the Triviality podcast, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, the Triviality podcast.
Yeah.
That should be
Also
out
by Neal.
Also by me. It should be out at the time. Mark will be a guest on soon as well. So, cool. So your turn, my friend.
Well, you stepped on my Last Action Hero pick, but you know what? It's
We're
a good
even.
one.
We're even though. You stepped on Howard the Duck.
Sure.
So wait, right now in the mix though, let's just recap for everyone. We have Rocky 4,
Howard the Duck,
Howard the Duck, Friday the 13th.
Yep.
Last Action Hero, Armageddon.
Yep.
And I feel like we're missing one more. Roadhouse. So we have 6 right now.
Yep.
So let's just throw a few more in there and see what we come up with.
Okay.
So before you start though, there's a lot of good movies on this list, right? I mean, I know that they're nominated for Razzies, but I mean, movies that we like.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to say. My next one, this is tough because I know we only have a few more. And let's see.
I think I know where you're going, and I just want to say
we picked a lot of action movies here, and that's why I'm going to kind of steer.
You're going to steer
away
clear
from that a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to go with one that's going to be a little bit controversial, and that is Freddy Got Fingered.
Okay.
It was actually a Razzie Award winner in 2001. Took the cake with Tom Green. If you like weird comedy, like I do, and this is a weird movie with hardly any plot and just one Tom Green bit after another, you'll love this movie. It's hilarious.
Right. They just gave him money, let him do whatever he wanted.
This is a hilarious movie. I mean, like, my wife and I still talk about this movie. Like, we still almost on a monthly basis, at least, will mention, "Daddy, would you like some sausage?" We'll mention I don't know if you've seen the movie, but there's a part in the movie where the parents give him a LeBaron to like move to the big city or whatever because they wanted to move out of the house and like make something of his life. And then his brother, who's actually named Freddie, everyone misconstrues that Tom is named Freddie. His brother's named Freddie, who he keeps on going, "Where's your LeBaron, Freddie? I don't see your LeBaron. Where's your LeBaron at, Freddie?" And I don't know why that's so funny to me, but
well, that was like part of his comedy.
Yeah.
He would like get in your face.
Yeah, and just repeat everything. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's why I enjoyed Tom Green, because he wasn't a guy who was subtle about anything, and I think that's why he was so successful at the time.
I love this movie. I know why people put it on the Razzie. There's some movies in here I don't understand why they got on the Razzie, where they were nominated at all. This movie, I totally understand why it was nominated and it won, but it's still a favorite of mine. I have a real fondness for it. So there you go, internet.
So what year did Freddy Got Fingered come out?
Well, it won in 2001, but it might have been a 2000 movie.
And you and your wife still talk about it now?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So another full circle. There's a lot of full circles in this episode, but I think the character of the camp counselor in Friday the 13th, the female, her name was Freddy, and she got fingered. That's the reason Jason was born. I'm just trying to see if Mark's paying attention because he's texting right now, and his head is not in the
No.
in
But
the mix.
I don't know if we can add, I'm sure you can't add anything to Freddy Got Fingered, but that was
No.
I cannot not add that.
Is that Tom Green's best performance, or did you like him in Road Trip better?
I mean, Tom Green is the star of Freddy Got Fingered,
Yeah,
so
that's
I would
true.
have to say.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Another honorable mention, The Bodyguard, mostly because Kevin Costner is pretty awesome, and you just can't deny the fact that Whitney Houston was a superstar at the time, and that soundtrack still breaks records to this day. I think Mark has been afraid to throw in some more Stallone, dare I say. But I'll let him throw in some more Stallone. I would say you should just throw in all of Stallone's movies that are on this list, which are Cliffhanger, Cobra, Rambo 3.
First Blood Part 2.
And then First Blood Part 2.
See, I would...
Cliffhanger.
Here's what I don't understand.
Okay.
Rambo First Blood Part 2 came out... Well, it won in 85. Who knows? It probably came out in 84. But it's a winner. It won the Razzie in 85 for Worst Movie. And that movie is awesome.
Now, is this the one
Rambo-
where he's shirtless with the gun at his hip?
In Vietnam, yeah.
Vietnam. Yeah, see, that's great.
Yeah.
We have to amend the Razzies there and put that one into the mix.
Yeah, I mean...
That's a fun one.
That's like a standout Stallone film. I mean, that's why one of the big, in my opinion.
No. I think before I even put my next pick, I think we should just throw that one into the mix officially. You quoted it the other day. What do you call? What's that best line where he's getting tortured and he's like, "I'll talk."
And he's like, he gets in the microphone and he goes, "Murdoch." The first time the guy goes, "Give us your position, Rambo. We'll come and get you." And then the lightning strikes. He goes, "Murdoch," and then he grips the mic all tight. "I'm coming for you." And then you realize, man, he is getting out of there, and he's coming for those guys. He's coming for the good guys, not the bad guys.
Oh,
and the Russian guy, the guy that's in...
What a Shyamalan twist.
Shyamalanian twist. The main bad guy, the Russian,
right.
He's also the main bad guy in Beverly Hills Cop 1. He made his way in a lot of 80s movies, but he has like that great scene where when he walks up, he makes his epic entrance, and he's like, "Pull him up," and then they pull Stallone up out of the mud, and he's like covered in leeches. He's like bathing. He's like dipped in like the manure runoff of the pigs that they have in the village. It's so gross.
Here's a thing to think about though. During this movie,
such a good movie, and
he's getting tortured with leeches, right? And he's in mud and shit as he gets lifted up.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you go to LA, you pay $100 to get leeches to go on your body.
Yeah. Exactly.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
but leashes actually do good things for your body. They clean your blood.
Well, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, thinking of it though,
But being dipped in shit, you can. Yeah, I can save that.
I think there's people probably in tubs of shit to help their skin. I wouldn't doubt it. Like if we Googled right now, like therapeutic shit.
Manure
skin
helps.
Fertilization.
Yeah. But yeah, this movie's great, and the fact that it won a Razzie, it blows my mind. Like there must be worse movies in 1985 than that. So anyway.
Oh, and Stallone.
Neal is confident that it should be in the list. So.
No, I think we should just throw it in there. We both talked about it kind of half and half, and I think it should be in there more so than Rambo 3.
Yeah,
which is fun.
Rambo 3 is still fun,
but 2.
We were talking about the irony of him helping the Taliban fight the Russians, and how the world's kind of flipped now. Well, actually, I guess we're gonna be fighting the Russians again, so
yeah,
we might need Rambo.
We might need Rambo. He might be a little old. Only a new Rambo.
What else do you got? Because
I will say about Rambo,
yeah,
the fact that he made what 4, right? The newest one, John Rambo, or just Rambo? That was like when he was old, right?
Yeah, it's called John Rambo.
Right, and he was in Burma.
And I believe there was another one coming, but I'm not sure.
So I love Stallone, and the only time I've seen the latest Rambo was in the theater. I saw it once. I had a terrible migraine. I took the strongest medicine that I had, passed out during the movie, which I normally don't do. Passed out. I woke up so frightened to the sound of explosions and screaming. I did not know where I was, and I freaked out. And it was so scary because I just remember I was just like kind of resting, and then all of a sudden I just hear like screaming and grenades and miniguns and gunfire and all that. So, but yeah, no, Stallone is great, and I do think we should do an episode on most jacked performances or best jacked performances.
Ooh, yeah.
Because we were just talking about how great Schwarzenegger looked shirtless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Hey, there's nothing
or
wrong
do
with
I?
It. Or maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know why you're
taking attack on
I don't
those
know,
oily biceps.
I don't know why you're taking your shirt off, but this is a podcast, not a video show. So
not a video cast.
So how many do we have in the mix now? About seven or eight? Are you going to add Cliffhanger, by the way, or is it too much Stallone? If you're the disease, I'm the cure.
It's got to be.
It's Cobra.
Cliffhanger should be mentioned. I mean, that's
Rennie Harlan.
Rennie Harlan's probably best movie.
Yeah.
That's a great action film. It's still one of those movies I'll watch when it comes on TV. I'll watch it still to this day.
Yeah, it is a good movie. And then On Deadly Ground, Seagal, was that the one where he wore the Native American coat?
I believe so.
Like the tassels?
Yeah.
And I want to say that, is it On Deadly Ground had an actor that had no business being in a Seagal movie? Yes, Michael Caine. Michael Caine.
Michael Caine is in every movie. He's in any movie.
But hey, John C. McGinley was in it as a character named Magruder.
Do you remember Michael Caine?
Magruder.
Nice.
Not MacGruber.
Michael Caine was in a Jaws movie, so
that's true. Billy Bob Thornton and R. Lee Ermey.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I have to rewatch this now for Michael Caine because I want to hear.
This is really the beginning of the end, to be honest with you.
Well, and listen to the.
God, that jacket is terrible.
The jacket's terrible. Listen
to. What do you think he is, Macklemore?
Oh God, I would love to do like a Seagal radio show, like the old timey radio shows, where like mysteries, like a serial, but it's Seagal.
Films?
No, not films, but he's just solving mysteries like Sherlock Holmes, and he's got like a sidekick, and you just hear him
this all the time.
Right, and he's like, I don't know, I think that's some deadly ground.
I'm not sure. I might have to.
I think it's some deadly ground.
I might have to break this guy's scapula and stab him with it.
They call me the Glimmer Man because I come in a glimmer and I kill you.
But listen to the synopsis of this movie. Mystical martial artist / environmental agent takes on a ruthless oil corporation.
Because you got to be all of them.
What environmental agency is hiring a mystical martial artist?
Is that on the job requirement?
It has to be. It has to be.
All right.
Sorry.
No. We should wrap this up so we can get to our deliberation.
All right. I have one more to add into the mix.
And I do too.
Okay, you go first because mine's going to cause a lot of controversy. You go first, though.
I'll just, you named Blair Witch Project. I put that on my list. I think it's worth mentioning.
It's important.
I'm not throwing it in the top 5, but it's definitely one of those. Like you said, I think it starts the whole found footage thing. It was great marketing at the time. I think it was the most profitable movie of all time. Yes, it's not the greatest movie, but to be a Razzie seems kind of ridiculous. Also, this is definitely going to be controversial because I don't think anyone agrees with me on this. But that Lone Ranger movie was kind of all right. It was kind of fun. My kids and I watched it, and we enjoyed it. It was not. There was nothing to take away from it. There was nothing like that I would say is like, going to stand the test of time in terms of the annals of film. But it was it's a pretty fun movie. And I have to say, Johnny Depp is pretty comical in the movie, like much more so. He's more funny in that movie as Tonto than he is in all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Whoa, that's
where he's like a drunk Keith Richards or whatever his situation is.
Could be a controversial opinion for our fans.
But I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was fun. I don't know if I'd watch it over and over again, but I understand why it's on this list. I'm not going to debate that, but I do think it was fun. And then the last thing that I would say, the last movie that I would add into the conversation, is a little movie by Kevin Costner that I like to call Waterworld.
Wow.
Mad Max on the Water is what I call it.
That is what you call it, actually. When you came in this morning, you're like, excuse me, can I have one of those apples? Yeah. And Waterworld is the Mad Max
on water.
On water.
I thought that was a cool movie. I mean, at the time, it was really panned because I remember it cost a lot of money to make that movie, and it did like terribly. But if you go back and watch that movie, it's not really any different than the Mad Max movie. I mean, like it has the same sort of post-apocalyptic setting. A madman and Dennis Hopper. Kevin Costner, obviously the protagonist. He's also a guy that has gills, so he can swim underwater.
I don't remember that. He has gills?
Yeah, he has gills behind his ears.
Oh, man. I don't remember
so he can
that.
go underwater for a long time. But this movie is like, there's some great action set pieces in it. The sets alone are pretty rad. There's the whole and the jet skis. I mean, it really is like Mad Max on the water. I find it very entertaining.
Didn't they have a ride or an attraction somewhere of that? You could like watch the water show. Was that like Universal or something?
Well, in Universal, at one point they had like the stunt show where it was like on a water. It was like a boat. It wasn't the Water World though.
I thought they had a Water
I think
World.
Water World was pretty panned. I don't think anyone was spending more money on.
I got to
Water
look
World.
this up because I thought they had a.
They could have maybe in Shanghai or something. I just wanted to throw that out there because I really liked this movie when it came out. I was kind of bummed that it was not very well accepted.
Oh, maybe it's my bad. I think there's a water park called Water World. Oh, nope. I'm sorry. There it is. Look at this. Waterworld, a live sea war spectacular, is an attraction based on the 1995 film Waterworld, found at Universal Studios Hollywood. 95.
But that picture looks nothing like how Waterworld was. That's funny.
Because I believe I saw that. Oh, yeah. Look at there. It is. There it is. Oh, no. That's Singapore. Okay. I was not in Singapore. You were right, though. You were kind of right on there. There is one in Singapore. They must really like the movie out there.
Yeah.
So the thing about Waterworld, or Mad Max, I should say.
Waterworld.
Waterworld.
Water, wonderful world.
Waterworld. The thing about Mad Max, though, that you bring up, that it is the Mad Max on water, my controversial opinion, the fact that you put Waterworld in here in the mix is kind of controversial. My opinion is, I don't think Mad Max should have been nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. I really enjoyed Mad Max. Yeah. It's a well-made film.
I wouldn't disagree with you. But
right. So here's my reasoning. I'm not saying it's bad.
But also the Oscars nominate everything now. So
they do. It won a ton of Oscars though for editing and crew and things like that, which it was deserved of. But
much better in black and white though, I have to say.
Yeah, the black and chrome edition. I will say it's a well-made film. Kidding. George Miller did an awesome job. The stunts are phenomenal. If anything, it should have won an Oscar and started a trend of Oscars for stunt work. But I just don't think it's Best Picture material. I thought it was a great summer popcorn action movie, but I didn't think it needed to be up for Best Picture. And I do love Tom Hardy. I've learned to love him a little bit more. I started out as a Tom Hardy. I don't know. I just didn't like Tom Hardy. Same thing with Ryan Gosling, actually. I didn't really like him originally because I thought he kind of played the same character, which he does, but I find it a little more endearing now. But Tom Hardy, though, I tell my friends, anytime we watch a Tom Hardy movie, there has to be a clicker for the amount of times that he grunts. And he goes, And in Mad Max, he's just constantly grunting all over the place. I know that's kind of the character, but it's really annoying. Anyway, my last submission into the mix before we go and deliberate.
This better be good.
Almost as controversial as Waterworld. Maybe more.
Oh, no.
Batman v Superman. Dawn of Justice.
That's a current one.
It's a current one.
That's from last year.
It's from last year, 2016. Yeah. This is all I'm going to say about the movie. You can write in, you can tweet us, whatever you want to do.
We couldn't find the Razzies for 2017, though.
They probably haven't happened yet, is my guess. Let's see if there's nominations while I'm about to talk.
Anyway.
Sorry for our Canadian audience.
Maybe that was
That was.
Okay, so they were just listing as it came out in 2016.
Yeah.
Okay,
so this is what I'm going to say about Batman v Superman. Just to give you some cliff notes, pointers, or whatever, and you guys can tell us what you think. And I'll let you respond, Mark. So number one, I am unapologetically a huge Batman fan, so I will say that going into it.
Me too.
Okay. Number two.
Can't agree with you more there.
All right. Number two, I did not think Man of Steel was a bad movie.
Me neither.
I think Henry Cavill is a great Superman. I think he brings the muscular performance. He looks great as Superman. He looks like a Superman that's imposing and could beat you. Not there's anything wrong with Christopher Reeve and his performance, but it is very 70s. And Brandon Routh did a nice job, but he was way too much of a callback to Christopher Reeve.
Well, the whole movie was. Yeah.
Right, and Henry Cavill looks like the Superman that you would want to fight Doomsday
Yeah.
or go to war.
He's ripped.
I think Ben Affleck was an awesome Batman. I think he really redeemed himself from playing Daredevil. I thought, now, whatever you agree with him as being Bruce Wayne, okay, I get it. Christian Bale was a great Bruce Wayne. I really love Christian Bale. I'm not saying he's better than Christian Bale, but his Batman suit, I thought, was probably my favorite I've seen because it looked so much like the comics. And he was jacked as well.
Like Frank Miller.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he was the most jacked Batman that we've had.
Yeah.
And he didn't need a lot of padding, which I appreciated. I loved Gal Gadot. I think she's great as Wonder Woman. I understand why people don't like Jesse Eisenberg's performance. I understand it, but I liked it. I thought it was fine. I got his character and what he was trying to do. And our friend Larry Fong shot it, looked beautiful. Overall, though, what I'll say. Is it a perfect movie? No, it is not. Is it too long? Yes, it's too long. The uncut version, the director's cut, actually makes it a better movie. So I would request that you watch that version first. But what I do want to say about it, I just thought it was a very well-written script as far as the references to, gods and man and power and taking power away from the people. And I just really love that dynamic that, Superman was being cast aside by humans because he was an alien, and Batman, even though he is a hero, I liked the way that they put them together. It reminded me of Batman's a comic book now that I'm Public Enemies, actually, that's what it is, with Batman and Superman. And it just reminded me of that. I liked the way that they came together. Yes, there are plot holes. There are moments you go, okay, why does Batman have all the logos of the Justice League on his computer that he emails to Wonder Woman? I get it. I know there's some other things, but I thought it looked great. I thought it had the best Batman fighting of any Batman movie. The way Zack Snyder shot those fight scenes was better than a lot of the frenetic camera work that Christopher Nolan did because he didn't really know how to shoot action yet.
Ooh.
And I think...
Man, you're really throwing it out there.
I'm throwing it out there.
Controversy.
Now, is it the best Batman movie ever? No.
No.
Is it one of the best superhero movies ever? No. I just think it came out at a time where people love to shit on superhero movies. Rightfully so. There are a lot of them.
It's hard to put those two franchises in a movie, though, without...
You're going to piss some people off. I just think remember Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah.
I really wanted Freddy to win that. No one won in the end, but I was happy. I got to see them on screen. I think you even said that in a previous podcast.
It was a good, yeah.
It was fun. I thought the visual effects were really good. I think Zack Snyder kind of gets a bad rap for, I don't think he's like the best director ever, but I think he's very talented.
He brings a lot of style to the table and not a lot of substance sometimes.
Exactly.
Sure.
He's very stylistic. And anyway, I just want to say, I want to throw it in there. I don't think it's one of the worst movies of all time. It was very entertaining. I know my friends like to shit on it. It is the popular thing to do because it's an easy like, I hate Batman versus Superman. Ha ha ha. It's so funny. Everyone hates it. Whatever. It's an entertaining movie. That's all I'm saying.
I'm a big Batman fan. As you know, he's my favorite comic book hero. That and the Punisher. I like the everyday guys that just like find resources to fight the guys that have superpowers. I think it's great. The superpower, the Superman being the god and the kind of the normal, quote unquote, normal guy that Batman is an interesting dynamic. My worst parts of the movie, the thing that I don't like the most, because I did like Man of Steel a lot. My Man of Steel I thought was pretty fun. I thought I explained the whole alien thing about Superman really well. Better than any of the Superman movies before, which I think was great. And it's explained like how he had to deal with like being on Earth and how he had this crazy powers that he had to hone and, just like sort of didn't drive him crazy. That being said, there's like, it's too long, and Batman vs. Superman is the same way. It's too long. I think it could have been edited. I haven't seen the director's cut. I should watch that. But also Jesse Eisenberg, who I like. Jesse Eisenberg, I like as I think they went. Sometimes you go against type, and people will get crazy about it. Like Michael Keaton, everyone hated Michael Keaton, and then they saw Batman, and they're like, "Oh man, this is great."
Right.
Same thing with Heath Ledger. I think people were kind of iffy on Heath Ledger being Joker, and then he ends up being a great Joker. And I thought the same thing with Jesse Eisenberg. I was like, well, maybe they see something I don't, and it'll be great. I don't think he was that great as Jesse. He was not as menacing as I would like Lex Luthor to be.
Right.
But that being said, I thought the movie all around was pretty entertaining, and I think you're right. I think Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne isn't as great as Ben Affleck is as Batman, and the design of the suit was pretty rad. How they did it like more like the Dark Knight with the shorter ears and the more kind of squatched. He's kind of more of a crouched, like more of a sort of thicker, muscular, kind of more Wolverine in the comic book-esque looking Batman, which I think is pretty rad. And I'm looking forward to the Justice League. I think it should be,
Right, and I heard they took notes. I'm curious to see what they're going to do as far as the way the tone is going to be addressed. But it looks fun. I think Wonder Woman looks like a lot of fun. Yeah. I'm glad to see Wonder Woman getting, her own feature film. And one thing I will say that we were talking about this the other day, and it just made me angry. It's like, oh my God. So everyone, talks about, which rightfully so, that there aren't enough films directed by women. There aren't female superhero movies being made to give young women role models or young comic book fans that are female role models, or males for that matter. But kind of celebrating the fact that Wonder Woman is coming out, directed by a female director, DC's, going outside of the box, and kind of, and maybe the only way that it is beating Marvel, it beats Marvel, at least in that. And this movie's coming out, people are excited about it, and everyone who is saying, oh, there's no female superheroes, okay, we have a female superhero now. What can we complain about now? She doesn't have armpit hair.
Right.
I understand, I guess, where they're coming from, but, you were just complaining that there weren't a female superhero.
Did Wonder Woman have armpit hair in the comic books?
I don't think so. But I think it's because they're calling Wonder Woman a feminist, and she's a feminist figure of power and superpower, and that she should have armpit hair.
Well, in that regard, then she should just wear like some kind of potato sack for a outfit, and like not wear, leg showing. You know what I mean? It's just it goes a little.
I mean,
too far.
she's Amazonian. Why
so you
would
gotta
she
stay true to the original material and stick with
I mean, it's not like
that's people putting their own inference on it. Then
and then they're complaining like before Wonder Woman is cast, we don't want an actress with huge boobs, cleavage like all the men who read comic books love. Then they hire Gal Gadot. She's too skinny. She doesn't have big enough boobs.
Right.
Like, just, I mean, everyone's going to be angry at some point. That's basically what we're saying today's episode. Whatever you do, everyone's going to be angry about something.
I think we need to deliberate.
Yeah, let's.
And then we'll come back with our top 5.
Yeah,
and
so
then best of the best.
Yeah, so we'll kick it over to our movie trailer guy, and we'll be right back.
And now it's time to announce the best of the best.
Okay, Neal and I deliberated. We got our top 5, and we also have our 6th and 7th spot. As you guys know, we call this our Ron Harper / Tony Kukoc spots.
We deliberated a long time, actually. It was a tough one.
Yeah, this was a harder one than the ones certainly that we've done so far. So, but here we go. We'll give a mention number 7, Howard the Duck.
Right.
We couldn't find room for in the top 5, but we definitely thought it should be mentioned. It should definitely be coming off the bench. Number 6, Rambo: First Blood Part 2. It's kind of a shame that there's actually one worst movie of 1985, but screw you, Razzies. We're putting it in our best of the worst, essentially.
Yeah, and I think
not in the top 5, but we already have spoiler alert. We already have a Stallone movie coming up in our top 5, so we thought might as well mention it, but in our 6th spot coming off the bench.
Yeah, Howard the Duck, Rambo, both we both have an affinity for those movies. We needed to include Howard the Duck at least in that top 7. So let's kick it to the movie trailer guy for our top 5.
Number 5,
Armageddon, top 5, Michael Bay movie, probably his most epic film. Very fun, entertaining movie.
Great cast.
I think we covered it pretty well. Great cast, very entertaining. If you haven't seen it, I'd watch it. I think, unfortunately, Michael Bay in a lot of instances gets a bad rep. So Armageddon, number 5.
Number 4,
Roadhouse. You heard me kind of geek out about this movie. I could talk about it all day, and I might convince Mark to do a full episode on Roadhouse. So all I'm going to say is, if you love Patrick Swayze, which everyone should, just check out this movie. And if you haven't seen it, don't look anything up about it. Just watch it, have fun. It is sort of the last ride of the 1980s. It's a 1989 movie, and all the fads that I think were lost after the 80s is kind of like the last ride of the 80s and how great they were. So Roadhouse, number 4.
Number 3,
Last Action Hero, This is the McTiernan film we were talking about, where he basically makes fun of his movies by satirizing them. It's very funny. I think it's an interesting kind of breaking the third wall look at kind of what Deadpool does now and everyone's excited by.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of like the original Deadpool.
And I think, Neal and I really like this movie. It definitely shaped our childhood with other movies. I'm a big McTiernan fan, so definitely number 3 is a good spot for it.
Number 2.
Rocky IV. We said there was going to be a Stallone movie in the top 5, and this one is probably, not the best Rocky movie art-wise, but it is the most fun Rocky movie. You have the great training montages from the bare bones training in the barn type things into the computers and robotic training exercises with Drago. And it's just a great David versus Goliath film. The death of Apollo Creed and some awesome music and an awesome soundtrack.
At number 1, the best of the best is...
Friday the 13th is our number 1 best of the best. Neal and I decided that this is number 1 for many reasons. One, it kicks off a franchise that has stood from 1981 all the way until really a few years ago, and I'm sure there'll be another Friday 13th movie coming. Again, it's such a great film. It kicks off the whole teenagers and having sex and how that's a sin and how they deserve to die because of it. And this one being more interesting because everyone knows the Friday the 13th franchise because of Jason Voorhees. This one being his mom starting it off. And it's a classic horror movie that has any horror movie you watch now kind of lends itself or owes a debt of gratitude, I think, to this movie. So. Yeah, and pretty important movie.
In another episode, we talked about Halloween being the number 1, so it's a little crazy that another episode, a slasher movie, is going to be in the number 1 spot. But like Mark said, we think it's important in the genre. The fact that it's kind of a misdirect. It's not Jason; it's actually his mother. A great performance by a young Kevin Bacon. And the reason we wanted to make it number 1 after a lot of deliberation, a lot of arguing, is that it did kickstart this franchise that has stood the test of time, and we think it is a worthy winner of the best of the best Razzie Best Picture Award nominees. So I don't think think there's anything wrong with it, but feel free to message us and let us know your lists.
I can't say anything. I mean, I think that's a pretty good summation of the best of the best Razzie, or I should say best of the worst Razzie Award nominees / winners. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully you guys agreed with us, and maybe you didn't agree with us. And if you didn't, please get at us on Twitter. Please use the hashtag BOTB. The movie guy will give you more exact information in terms of our Twitter handles and email, and we'd love to hear from you. So
yeah, and just make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes and give us a review. That's going to help us become more searchable. And on behalf of Mark, I'm Neal. Thanks for joining us. And make sure to grab your Playduck magazines and go give a speech to end the Cold War while getting chased by a mother with a machete. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Where's Mr. Christie?
Oh, I couldn't let them open this place again. Could I? Not after what happened. You let him drown. You never paid any attention. Look what you did to him. Look what you did to him.
Thanks for listening. If you think we've missed any of your favorites, message us on Twitter and Instagram using the handle @bestofbestpod and include your own top 5 by using the hashtag BOTB. We ask that you rate, review, and subscribe to Best of the Best on iTunes or your preferred podcast app. Have ideas for show topics, opinions, or just want to say hello? Send us an email to bestofthebestpod@gmail.com. Till next time, special thanks to Radar Studios and long live Don Hogue.